Good morning. I hope everyone had an enjoyable Thanksgiving. I'd like to welcome back to the Betsuin over this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We're really delighted to have back joining us here for service in the Naijing our youth ministers assistants who are away at college, Haley Arakaki, who is our Chosho, Kelly Lee and Lindsay Mark from UCLA and UCI. Haley's in Arizona, and I know they miss coming back to the Betsuin every Sunday, and it's so nice to see them joining us here. Except for this past week, I think we've really enjoyed a relatively warm November, but there is now an undeniable chill in the air. And with the leaf piles growing a little higher on the ground, we can sense that autumn is coming to an end. Each evening, the sun goes down a little earlier, and as the days shorten, we know that winter is just around the corner. How quickly time does pass. But this is really a wonderful time of year. This is Patty's favorite time of year. This past Thursday with Thanksgiving, we've begun a very special family time of year, the autumn-winter holiday season. From Thanksgiving to Christmas and then into the new year, within this 5-week period, we will gather and enjoy feast after family feast. As I've often said, Thanksgiving is perhaps the most Buddhistic of all the traditional American holidays. It is a special time that as a nation we set aside one day from our busy schedules to simply come together with family and give thanks. It is a day of family and friends coming together for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is most Buddhistic, for being thankful is a Buddhist life. A life of gratitude is a life of Nembutsu. The feeling of thanksgiving is the feeling of Namo Amida Butsu. One of my explanations of Nembutsu has been, it is that level of gratitude where the words thank you are not enough. That deep level of gratitude, so deep, words are insufficient. But sometimes when I think of this, I ask myself, when was the last time, Bob, that you were so thankful that words were not enough? The words thank you would have been insufficient. Although, as a Buddhist and as one who tries to share the Dharma, I should try to have this feeling every day, every moment. But I know in the busyness of my well-scheduled days and weeks, I too easily forget to take the time to appreciate all that I have. I fail to truly appreciate Patty enough. I take for granted my family and friends and this wonderful life that I've been able to live. But this is why we come to our temple. This is why we come to Omairi. This is why we come, for when we sit in our hondo and listen to the Dharma, we cannot help but see ourselves and our lives reflected in the mirror of the Dharma. And looking into the Dharma mirror, we remember again how we should try to live, but so easily forget. To try to just live with awareness and appreciation. We have so much now. We live with more conveniences and more luxuries than any people who have ever lived. We have so much, and yet I think we complain and monku even more. Monku is the Japanese word for complaining, and it captures a feeling of someone who complains about every single thing, anything that goes wrong. And we call these kinds of people monkutares. Some of you know this phrase. Monku is a great word. Whenever we complain and monku, in our hearts there is absolutely no room for even the tiniest sliver of appreciation. As soon as we complain even a little bit, there's no room in our hearts for even a sliver of appreciation. As I mentioned, we do have more than any people who have ever lived. We certainly have more than we need, but it seems that we still want more. I found that, Patty and I, we don't go as often to the malls as we once did. I know for me, I have all the shirts and ties and suits that I'll ever need. And although we may not go shopping as much anymore, I have noticed that more and more there are these deliveries made to our doorstep by UPS and FedEx. It seems there is someone in our household that has found a way to let her keyboard do the shopping for her. Very dangerous. But she's really good. Whenever I find these packages on our front porch and I bring them into the house, before I could say a word, she says, "Oh, what did you get for me?" I love surprises. That's pretty good. But at first I was not ready for that question, but now I am. "Oh, this is your early birthday present." But I tease Patty when it comes to accumulating more than we need. But I am really guilty of this. I'm better now, I think, than I was before. But as some of you may remember, I shared this some years ago that I am a recovering shoeaholic. Yeah. Now as I look back, it probably began back in my college days, over 40 years ago. The one item that I could not seem to resist they were tennis shoes. When I see tennis shoes, if there's something, it was nothing like, it felt so good to wear a brand new pair of Chuck Taylors, High school and college, Chuck Taylors, the original Converse, they were the shoe to have. But in 1973, just before I went to Japan, I bought these strange-looking basketball shoes that were more than twice the price of Chuck Taylors. You can get Chuck Taylors for $10, $12. This upstart company in Oregon came out with a new kind of shoe, and when I tried them on, it felt like they were just an extension of my feet. So comfortable. I had to have them. And I paid $28 for what turned out to be the first Nike basketball shoe. It was called the Nike Blazer. Since they were in Oregon, they named it after the Portland Trail Blazers, I think. And Sidney Wicks, who played for UCLA, was drafted by the Blazers. And I remember in that shoe box, they had a small little brochure, and Sidney Wicks, who was an all-star player back in the day, he was endorsing this new basketball shoe. Let me show it to you. Here it is. Look at this. This is the first Nike basketball shoe. Yeah. I was offered $800 for these shoes before. But I thought, I got to keep these. Then it was around 29 years ago, as I began to put on a few pounds, for some reason I unconsciously began to buy all kinds of different athletic shoes. And now looking back, I feel that my unconscious mind had a logic of its own. It was this: if I buy these shoes made for sports, I will certainly exercise more. So I found myself really buying aerobic shoes, walking shoes, jogging shoes, softball shoes with rubber cleats, and I didn't even play softball. All-purpose turf shoes, cross-training shoes, and I didn't know what cross-training was. I even bought a pair of tennis shoes for tennis. But there's no doubt that the shoes that I loved the most were basketball shoes. When Spud Webb won the slam dunk contest in 1986. He was wearing a pair of basketball shoes called the City Lights. Oh, excuse me, City Wings. It's by Pony. I still have the box, but I gave the shoes away. For some reason, it's kind of cool to just have the box. Huh? I paid $49.85 for these shoes. So, but yeah, basketball shoes were just something I found myself really having no control over. I bought Air Jordans, Air Barclays, Air 180s, Air Max, and my favorite shoe of all time were the Air Pennies. You know, Penny Hardaway was an all-star point guard in the early 90s who would have been really much better remembered today if his career was not cut short by injuries. But when I tried on those Air Pennies, the shoe was so comfortable. I went back and bought 2 more pairs. And I still have 1 pair left, brand new in the box. Here it is. Are those beautiful or what? Maybe I'm not recovering. Oh gosh. Well, yeah, Air Pennies are my all-time favorite. You know, but there came a time in 1996 that I remember I had so many athletic shoes. Patty called me the Imelda Marcos of tennis shoes. Anyone under 40 would not get that. But being called the Imelda of tennis shoes really cut me deep, you know. I said, no. Imelda had thousands of shoes. I only have hundreds. It was then that I told Patty I would not buy another pair of sports shoes. Well, at least I will try. Huh? And my promise was good for maybe about 3 months. Huh? I remember it was in November this month. We were in Fresno for the Junior YBA conference, and we visited Patty's family, and we took a little family ride to a new outlet in Visalia. And my brother-in-law, Dennis, he twisted my arms to go with him to the Reebok store. They had a big sale. This was the second day of their grand opening. And to get to the point, I found a pair of shoes I just could not pass up. It's like they found me. I didn't really want them. I certainly didn't need them, but I knew I had to have them. Patty saw me holding them, and she said, "You don't need those." And anyway, the style is so dated. Shoes now have more flash. You know, this is when foam posits started coming out. The kids will know what that is. Well, and she said, "You know, those shoes are so 8 years ago." And yes, I answered to every one of her comments, but I couldn't put them down. They were like stuck to my hands. What a deal. They were the only pair in the store, and they were in my size. It was meant to be. It was a huge sale. I was totally thrilled. The brochure that came with the shoe explained in great detail the wonders of this shoe. It was the shoes that Dominique Wilkins wore when he should have won the slam dunk contest in 1988. The Reebok Pump Basketball Elevator 4 in Roman numerals. Really classy, huh? And here's the kicker. They were on sale for $19.99. And I could get $10 off any shoe. $9.99. I couldn't pass it up. Here they are. Oh, see, it's got the little pump here. You put it on and it fits tightly to your foot. Okay, so, $9.99, huh? $9.99. Dominique Wilkins wore these shoes. Wow. Oh. Well, here I was getting all this incredible deal. But was I thankful? Was I grateful for my good fortune to find these shoes for only $9.99? Nope. I was not grateful at all. I was greedy, just feeling greedy. I was instead reciting what I call Greedy Bob's hunger for more basketball shoes, more treasures. You know, in our tradition, we recite the three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter a teaching so wonderful as the Dharma. Now we're able to hear it. Well, instead, when Patty was looking the other way, I was reciting Greedy Bob's three treasures. Fortunate is it to find a slick pair of slam dunk contest-winning hooping shoes in my size for $9.99. Now I have found them. Rare is it to pass up a bargain of such magnitude, so I must have them. Let us quickly go to the counter and purchase these, while Patty is looking the other way. So, there is no doubt that I speak from experience when I say we live in a time when we have more conveniences, more luxuries, more stuff than we really need. More things than any people have had ever, and we have more than we really need. I know I certainly do. And in this life of plenty, we tend to take for granted all too easily what is truly of value in living our lives. When we sit in our hondo, we cannot help but look into the mirror of the Dharma and reflect upon our lives again. We see what is truly of value in living each day. We are reminded that it is not the things that we own or possess that give us happiness. A new pair of shoes is a momentary thrill, but our real happiness is just being able to live this moment, this day fully, with appreciation and gratitude for the people and events that have made our lives what they are. So as we sit in this hondo together, this toasty warm hondo on this chilly November Sunday morning, on this Thanksgiving Sunday, let us look into the mirror of the Dharma and remember again that we must appreciate the people we love while we have them. Let us not take for granted all that we have. When we come into our hondo, we push the pause button on our lives. We put the activity of our lives on hold. And as we sit here, we leave our full schedules and busy agendas outside. And in doing this, we quietly remember to simply be in this moment and appreciate the greatest treasures we could ever have. The gift of life, the gift of family and friends, the gift of love and friendship. Thank you for joining us on this Thanksgiving Sunday. And I hope that as we come in and enter the last 5 weeks of this year, it's really a kind of a commercial time of year now. But let us keep in mind throughout this time that it's not the things we own or possess that give us happiness. The real treasures of our lives, are the people who each day, whose lives give ours meaning. So please take this feeling with you into the last 5 weeks of this year. In closing, please join me in Gassho. To a Buddhist, every day is a day of thanksgiving, a day of gratitude, a day of Gassho. Too easily we take for granted the gift of each day. In our hurry to get things done or to just get things, too often we fail to appreciate all that we have, the people whose lives give meaning to our own. So this week and to the end of this year, if we find ourselves rushing through life perhaps a bit too fast, let's try to slow down, appreciate the moment that is now, the day that is today, in the spirit of Gassho, the spirit of thanksgiving. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.